Welcome to Engage,
where we are inspired by Jesus impacting our city and the world.
Living this way is an art form that is best when practiced together. We do this together by resisting apathy,
Welcoming everyone and making sure no one is left out.
participating in remedying the concerns of those around us and around the world.
Telling our stories, and just by actually being, eating, and doing life together.
We believe that every day is another chance to live by faith
Labor in love.
and endure with hope. Join us, create with us,
as we follow the brushstrokes of the Creator. Welcome to Engage.
My big brother has always been my ambassador of cool in life. And as he journeyed out just ahead of me through middle school and high school and beyond, it always amazed me how he seemed to be one of those people that just didn't honestly care what you thought about him. He didn't mind being unique, and I so badly wanted to be like that. When I went away to college, my plan was to play football and study theater. And I remember my freshman counselor saying, I have never seen someone do these two things before. And that kind of made me happy inside. And my bro wrote me this note, and he secretly had tucked it into my book bag. And I actually didn't find it until right before my first class as a freshman in college. And it said so many cool things and great things that I won't share, but it also included that I should keep being a jock and playing sports and also do art because girls really like that. And now, of course, that wasn't the reason why I was doing it. I love sports. Sports actually saved my life when I was a scared and unbelievably shy kid, and I needed something to find confidence in. And the arts were just embedded into me. My mom was an art teacher, and she was teaching my brother and I about art history before we learned our ABCs, basically. But for the first time, I remember reading that and having to wonder about why I had this longing to be different. Was it completely a self-serving thing, or could I be unique in my life? Could I be different for a bigger purpose, for something bigger than myself? In Luke 2:41 through 52, we read the first recorded statement from Jesus' lips. And it's the first and only story that we have of Jesus' childhood. And it's kind of an odd one. Like, if I were choosing a story from Jesus' life, I don't know that this is the one that I would have chosen. But let's read it together from Luke 2:41 through 52. Every year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. When he was 12 years old, they went up to the festival according to the custom. After the festival was over, while his parents were returning home, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem, but they were unaware of it. Thinking he was in their company, they traveled on for a day. Then they began looking for him among their relatives and friends. When they did not find him, they went back to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple courts, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. Everyone who heard him was amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. His mother said to him, "Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you." "Why were you searching for me?" he asked. "Didn't you know I had to be in my father's house?" But they did not understand what he was saying to them. Then he went down to Nazareth with them and was obedient to them. But his mother treasured all these things in her heart, and Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. So like maybe if I was choosing a story about Jesus, it would have been one like, oh man, as he was learning carpentry with his dad, he never had to measure and everything he built was exactly right. Or the time that he couldn't swim with his friends because he could only walk on the water and not swim in the water. Now these things may or may not have happened, right? But if I were choosing a story from Jesus's kid life, I might have chosen one of those things. So like maybe a story about how Jesus was learning carpentry with his dad and he never had to measure and everything he built was like perfectly right. Or he tried to go swimming with his friends, but all he could do is walk on the water and not swim in it. These may not have happened and are just like fictional fun things. But something like this would have been cool to include if I was choosing stories from Jesus's kid life. But what we get instead is we get this story of Jesus worrying his parents sick. It's every parent's nightmare to lose their child. They accidentally leaving him behind, Kevin McAllister style, in Jerusalem, and then have to go back to the big city to search for him. But Jesus wasn't, torturing robbers like Kevin McAllister did. He was in the temple with the great teachers, talking to them as if he was one of them. Now let's pause here. And we need to see this from Mary and Joseph and the rest of those who saw this. We need to see it through their eyes. This is a 12-year-old boy. No formal rabbinical training, no title, no platform, and yet here are the most respected religious leaders in the temple in Jerusalem, and they are listening to him. Now, Jesus' parents want to know, why did you do this to us? Like, why did you put us through this? Why did you worry us so much? And Jesus responds by saying, didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house? This moment is profound in so many ways. It's also strange, maybe even a little uncomfortable. But Jesus isn't saying this to his parents to be disrespectful. What he's saying to everyone is he's clarifying something and revealing something that actually is pretty wild. Here he is at 12 years old, and he already knows who he is, the Son of God, God in the flesh. He already knows what his purpose is, and he already knows that his life will be truly unique, singular, extraordinary, but not for his own purposes, but for the service of others. In John 1:10-14, we get this really clear picture of not only what makes Jesus one of a kind, but also we get a picture of the why behind it. Why is Jesus one of a kind? John 1:14 says, the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Did you know that this is actually unique to Jesus among other religious figures? Jesus is God in the flesh. God chooses to use the human form to reveal who God is. This is unique. This is extraordinary about Jesus when it comes to comparing him to other religious figures. So then we backtrack to verse 12 to see the why behind this. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. So here's another attribute that is unique to Jesus. Other religious figures point to the way, point to a path. Jesus says, I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. Jesus uses his own one-of-a-kind, completely unique life to lift others up and not only point to, but embody what it means to be a child of God. And then another thing that makes Jesus one of a kind, he invites us to do likewise. He invites us to do the same. There's no way I could have known how my love of sports and my love for the arts would work together to serve anyone beyond myself. But then later in life, I started to write these kids' books about my hometown sports teams that I love so much. And that led to school invitations where I couldn't directly talk about Jesus, but I could talk about a character from another book that I wrote called The Sugar Lion. This character who reveals sweet things in the world around him and every creature he encounters. And I could use that character to tell those kids that they have something sweet inside of them. Something that the world needs so much. They may not understand it now, but it will make the world better someday. So here's what I'm saying. Maybe instead of New Year's resolutions this year, or maybe this is actually some kind of a New Year's resolution, why don't we look at the life of this one-of-a-kind Jesus, who inspires us to embody what it means to be a child of God, to live like it with confidence, with joy, with assurance, even if what it looks like is different and unique, or even confusing like it was for Jesus' parents on that day. Let's examine the things that make us one of a kind. Let's examine the things that we have in our lives that are unique gifts, that are unique talents, even quirks that we have that can actually be used to lift others up, to remind them who they are and that they too can be like Jesus. Jesus invites us through his life here on earth, invites us. What is one thing that makes you you? That makes you one of a kind? And how can you use that to draw others toward their identity in God and their service to others? May God bless you in this new year.